I've been doing a lot in the past couple of months to try and educate myself on the way of the world, the way of the UK, and how things have been over the last, let's say, 100, 200 years. And I've been doing a lot of reading about old school times, Victorian times, and the ways that people used to work and live. And one thing that became extremely noticeable in all of the literature and basically content that I've consumed around the past, we're talking before World War II, is that people used to have life a lot tougher. This is not a new concept to me, it's something that we all basically know. If you've got grandparents, or if you've been fortunate enough to even meet your great grandparents, who were probably born, in the 1930s, if not earlier, life was a very different situation for them. At the same time, we fail often to make a direct correlation between situations of the past and situations of the present. Now, this becomes extremely important when we are formulating our own worldviews, especially our views of how the world is now and how difficult or relatively difficult life is for our generation and us as individuals. When I was reading about the Victorian times, it stood out that a lot of these people, especially in the north of England where I live, where I was born, a lot of people back in the day, we're talking only 100 years ago, let's say, were working in obviously coal mines. If you've got a granddad and you live in the north, he probably was a coal miner, so you probably have that experience. But then you go back even further than that, it's like people were working 10-hour days, 12-hour days even, sometimes even longer than that, down a coal mine, especially if we go back to Victorian England. Coal mines, poorhouses, all of these different measures, right? Life was basically hell, or very difficult at the very least. And I want to make a huge contrast to 2024. The world of work today is still something that most people don't enjoy. It's still something that most people don't like waking up for in the morning on a Monday. They dread it on a Sunday or a Saturday because it's coming back round, and they wish that they could escape. I've made it very apparent that I actually think that in the modern world it's relatively easy to escape work. And what I mean by that is not taking a free ride on the system, but building an online business, building real world investments. Any business model that you want to learn about, you can find free content about it here on YouTube. That's the kind of thing that's changed my life. I now make a full-time income here online and have a job as well. So it's easy. But bringing this back to today's topic and today's point, we like to make out in the modern world that 40 hours a week or a 9 to 5 isn't great, or isn't easy, or isn't okay even. And like I say, there are easier ways. It can be soul crushing, it can be draining. For some people it's not even that financially rewarding. However, I think as young people we need to be educated on this topic, and the topic is the history of our country, right? Or even our world. Working conditions have never been easier. And I feel like this is more of a Gen Z thing, my generation, and it's not a mindset that I have. It really, really annoys me when people watch one of my videos and make a massive sweeping statement about what my opinions are on a certain topic. I do think it's easier to make money online. I do think it's more rewarding as well. At the same time, I know a lot of people who do not run an online business, have not tried, and complain about the toughness of the world. Work is hard. Work doesn't make sense. And I can, in my humble opinion, say that. And the reason why I believe that is because I could quit my job like that. If I woke up tomorrow and said I didn't want to go to work, I could quit. And the reason is because I've got tens of thousands in savings, and I've got an online income, which is enough to live on anyway. So I wouldn't even have to dip into my savings. I'd probably still be able to save money by quitting my job. But I know so many young people where this is not the situation. So my point is that gives them less validity to have the ability to say work isn't worth it. And bringing this back to the Victorian argument, I feel like we are the first generation as Gen Z, and this is not true for all of us. I know some Gen Z, my age range, who are working incredibly hard. 2 jobs full time. Yes, you heard that right. 2 full-time jobs, 80 hours a week. People who are upskilling themselves, people who are trying to build businesses, we are still a generation of entrepreneurs. At the same time, though, I think that the proportion of lazy people may be higher. This idea of working 40 hours a week to a lot of Gen Z seems like a massive challenge, seems like a massive waste of time, seems like a massive trap, a scam, and it seems hard. The amount of people I know, Gen Z, my generation, like I say, who I talk to about work, I talk to about business, I talk to about property, I talk to them about investments, and they say, well, how am I ever going to afford a property? And I say, the reality of the world is, even on minimum wage, right? If you worked 40 hours a week, just a standard work week, you could very easily afford rent. And yes, I know for some people who have kids, this is not the case. I'm talking about people aged 20, 21, 23. You can get a flat share, or even a flat of your own, or even a house out of the town. Yes, you might have to spend more in transport costs or a car, but a lot of young people I know, and this is people who I know, not internet situations, they could easily afford to live a decent life just working 40 hours. No businesses, nothing else. And my point is, this to me sounds incredibly crazy. Like I say, I think the 9 to 5 in my life is not something that I really long-term aspire to. I think it's a way to build a lot of money in savings and perhaps invest and then go from there. But a lot of people don't want to do that, and they will still say that they should have a good life for working 20 hours, 16 hours. 16 hours is 2 days a week, right? And that's okay. It's basically what I do right now, because like I say, I have money coming in online, so I can do that. But then you hear people who expect decent qualities of life, and they're working 2 days a week. They're not upskilling. They're not going to university or a trade school or an apprenticeship. They're not upskilling at all, and they're not working hard. And I don't mean hard. 40 hours a week is relatively easy. 36 hours even. 30 hours is enough for most people to live as young people, right? I know some people are going to say as a 30-year-old it's completely unviable. As a 20-year-old, your living expenses will probably be lower. It's very viable to do it on 30 to 40 hours a week. And yet so many people don't want to get into this. I don't want to get into the world of a 9 to 5, and I don't think it's a positive thing for most people. But the truth of it is, a statement that I've said in countless videos now, beggars can't be choosers. And there is a degree of difficulty in accepting either path. You can go down option A and try be an entrepreneur, business person, and take all of the risk, all of the challenge, all of the stress, and I would say it's worth it. Or you could go down option B and choose to go to work. Maybe you'll invest, maybe you'll save, maybe it'll be more successful than if you built a business. But why do we have so many people who think that they are entitled to all of these luxuries from doing nothing? There has never been a time ever where and I think the internet is the reason why I believe this, right? And what I mean by that is the internet has changed the game. Like I say, I've been able to build a successful online business online. There's never been a time where it's been comparatively so easy to have success in business, in a lot of fronts of life, and so many people are not waking up to this opportunity. But even if you don't want to do that, 40 hours a week compared to lives of the past is not hard, and the luxuries that will be afforded with that, for most people, especially young people, are immense, right? They're immense. It's only since reading Victorian, I don't even know if I want to say literature, but perhaps documentations of the past, so literature to an extent, but that you realise 40 hours a week for a lot of people is a blessing. And then people will say, well, you've changed, you now think that a 9 to 5 is good. No, I don't. But the reality of it is, most people, I'm going to say this, most people do not want to be entrepreneurs. When I am done filming this video, which I've had to take time out of my day to self-manage when I'm going to film videos to make money and when I'm going to do my work, I've got different tasks to do, right, when I finish this. So a lot of people don't want the stress. A lot of people don't want 10-hour days, 12-hour days working at home. A lot of people aren't cut out for a business. Let's tell the truth. So if that's not you, if you don't want to take all these challenges and risks, where are you going to make your money? Because 16 hours a week running a business could potentially be viable depending on what you're doing. But people expect that from a job. This has never been the case in history, and we can say as well, this is a big thing, we can say that, oh, the boomers had it better, or Gen X had it better, or millennials had it better. And yeah, there are a lot of factors where this is absolutely true. But from the amount of people that I speak to, this concept of working 1 day a week, 2 days a week, and expecting to be able to afford anything is completely new. People don't understand where we've come in society in the past 50, 100, 200 years. I'm not saying it's incredibly easy, but it's not incredibly hard in a lot of cases. Yes, there are going to be nuances to this situation. Some people will not be able to get by on 40 hours a week. Some people will not be able to even get a job in that field. But I'm not making this video for everybody. I'm making this video for people who it may relate to. And I'm making this video for Gen Z, my generation, who may need to hear this message. There's never been a time in history where people expected to work 2 days a week and have a house, right? And a big car. I'm not going to go down this route that all Gen Z are like this, because I know a lot of people. Obviously, I have a lot of friends and they are going to be my age. It's not all. It's not all at all. But there is more and more people who this is true for, and they need to hear a message like this. They don't understand how it's been. They don't understand the context of the world now or in the past. To make it rich or even big, now or any time, you had to work incredibly hard. And that's not changed, and it's not changing. You may get lucky being some crypto or stock millionaire, and of course that is a new way that the internet has changed the playing field, but people don't even understand what they're looking at.